Morning. Been meaning to make this video, just haven't had time, so I'm just gonna rush through it as quickly as possible. I found some good stuff, good connections. Once again, disclaimer: I'm not telling you to invest in anything. I'm simply sharing my findings and allowing you guys to formulate your own opinions. And I'm just sharing open information that's on the web. Anybody can find it. So let me start off here. Okay, so let's start off here. I made this chart. I'll make this available to you guys in the comments. I'll just go down the list. So basically, a lot of this kind of ties into Swiss custody, from what I'm seeing. That's kind of the big tie here. So let me zoom out. So Swiss custody, right? Started doing some more digging. This is one that constantly gets contemplated about. I did find some interesting connections. Not saying it's legit. I'm just showing you some interesting ties, right? So I found this, right? Swiss custody firm Medico primed to offer DeFi to banks. All right, who's Medico? Medico is an institutional investment platform that happens to, sorry, I'm not sure why this is lagging, happens to have partnered with IBM, right? IBM Ventures, and also the Philippines, Union Bank specifically. And let me show you why that's important. The reason that's important is because Union Bank is a Philippine bank, right? And I've had this file for a minute, which is basically a bank or treasury certificate. You open this link up for you guys. Actually, I might have it here. Let's see. I thought I had it here. Okay, then let me pull this up here like this. Okay. Now here it is, right? So I've had this one for a while. This is also an interesting one. If you can see here, now I don't know the legitimacy of this document, just saying I found it one day, just digging deep on the web. As you can see, it looks like, I want to say this is all the banks at the Rothschilds, all the central banks at the Rothschild zone. It's like about 1,000 of them, but it kind of tells you the balances of each. In particular, I wanted to show this, right? So let's say you're contemplating whether this whole lobster thing or stellar thing is legit. It's hard to say, but let's say it was, right? Let's say it was, and there was a distribution of wealth. Check out the money we're talking about, right? If all this was seized and all this was being distributed through seller and through other means, you're running into balances of infinity. See that? UBS, infinity. Vatican amended, right? White Eagle account. See, look at these balances. Divine Sunflower account, okay. Right. White Spiritual Wonder Boy King David, right? Now, if you're kind of questioning, had some more questions on why Spiritual Wonder Boy, let me see, is important or ties to this. Check this out. Or is it Spiritual Boy account? I remember seeing this article a bit back. Let me see. White. Okay. Okay, I haven't seen this before. I'll open that up right now. Gosh, I can't find it. It was an article that discussed. Wow, 600 trillion. That's a lot. All right. Here's some more stuff I just found. 5-star trust. Swift code. Looks like it's signed by somebody, but look at these accounts, man. Look at all this money. Right? HM King. I have more statements like this that I'll share in other videos. I'm just in a rush right now, so I gotta kind of fly through this, but that's crazy. See all this? All ties to White Spiritual Boy. So I'll go ahead and for now I'll save this, and I'll include it in all the links that I attached. So, you know, back to this. So that's why that was kind of interesting to me. And we also have, okay, next one, which is SEBA Bank. So on this one, this is where it gets a little interesting, in the sense that I found even more connections to the NASDAQ, and that happens to be through, well, actually NASDAQ and the Department of Defense, which they seem to somewhat be involved in this in some way. If you can see here, deploying Stellar with SEBA chain to develop blockchain-based system for U.S. Department of Defense. So there's no denying that, right? LIGHTNET group. So here's your LIGHTNET group, which is also important. How this company basically ties all into Velo protocol, which ties into JED, which ties into Interstellar, which ties into Lightyear, which ties into Chain.com, which Chain.com was already deployed in a partnership with NASDAQ back in 2015, which is around the time that, you know, in one of my previous videos, you'll see where I talk about the Stellar Quantum Server, and basically it's around that same time. So, you know, more connections there. If you can see here, LIGHTNET Group plus SEBA Bank announces joint venture with SEBA Bank. SEBA Bank happens to be a FINMA licensed Swiss bank. So this is all tied to Asia, Southeast Asia. If you can see here, using the Velo protocol. Velo Labs happens to be a project from Jed, I believe, or he's a chairman or something. He's involved in it some way, but it's basically like the credit industry, which is, to me, I'm seeing it as basically the kind of like Klarna or like Afterpay, something like that, but on the digital, in the digital world, right? Digital currency world. You can see here, LIGHTNET targets moving 50 billion of international payments annually on the Stellar blockchain by 2022. So that's where we're at right now, 2022. If I go further down, you can type these into the internet and find some good connections, but this is how they're all tied together. You have Velo, Interstellar, LIGHTNET, BridgeNet, Asia, Zelle. The Interstellar CEO that took over happened to have been the former founder of Zelle. And we also had the CTO, which is Jed McCaleb. Here's some more proof on that. Here's the item I was talking about, who ran the blockchain startup Chain before it merged with Lightyear to form Interstellar, right? And Chain, Lightyear, and NASDAQ are tied together by NASDAQ link enables first ever private securities issuance documented with blockchain technology, December 30th, 2015. Transaction by Chain.com marked significant proof of concept. Chain.com, an inaugural NASDAQ link client. So more connections right there. If I go further down, you have Xcurrent and RippleNet, right, which I found all tied to American Express, and of course many connections, but mainly I wanted to point out American Express in this case, because if you go to the Sharia Review Board compliance website, you'll see that one of their featured clients is American Express. And if you go on their website, you'll find their document for regulations for the UAE and other parts of that region. And Stellar happens to be the first approved blockchain with regulations along with Algo. So if you go type in Stellar, right, and Stellar, sorry, I had a blank out. SRB, Sharia compliance, I think that's how you spell it, or something like that. Here it is. It's directly on their website, so there's no denying that either. All right. Okay. Go back to Xmine. All right here. Okay. So from here, next thing, another interesting thing I found is Owanda, Charlie Ward video that was recently dropped on 4/22. Let me play a quick clip of that. Oh, come on. Anyways, it looks like it was deleted, so typically that means I was onto something. But anyways, he mentions, he's talking about the QFS, and then he mentions Owanda, whoever he's talking to in the podcast. He tells them to basically go check out Owanda as proof that this whole Jasara thing is happening, with as far as how they're tied to commodities and physical commodities. And in this case, it's important because Owanda seems to be, if I can get this to unfreeze, right? So the former founder of Owanda founded Like, right? And Like is involved in the forum, right? Like happened to be, I don't know if you guys remember this, but happened to be one of the first ones to relist XRP when after the whole SEC case started. And I thought that was interesting because that didn't really click to me at the time, but I guess there's some importance there, and that importance happens to be, in my opinion, I think it happens to be one of the links that kind of ties everything out on the back end. If you can see here, I found this Swiss chain API SDK, right, which SDK stands for Software Development Kit, which is basically allowing you to build applications using these API calls, and Swiss chain happens to be tied to Swiss Quote, right, which is tied directly to Like. I want to say it was one of the founders, or it's, if you go to their website, you'll find that it's a direct link to Like, right? Now the next thing is you have BitMEX Ventures. Now BitMEX Ventures, this is another important one. Bitbond. Okay, so it looks like BitMEX Ventures. Okay, yeah. So BitMEX acquired this, the oldest German bank from 1754. So they bought out this bank, and Bitbond and that German bank partnered. Wait, did they buy it, or what did they do here? Let me check this again. Yeah, it acquires a German legacy bank just this year on January 18th, 2022. Now these two partnered together, German bank and Bitbond launched a euro stablecoin on Stellar, right? And let me pull this up right here. So, and then this legacy bank partnered with Fireblocks. Fireblocks is important, if you can see right here. All right, so they partnered with Fireblocks. Fireblocks is important because they raised $550 million to become the highest valued digital assets infrastructure provider, with $2 trillion in digital assets transferred. The Fireblocks platform now supports more than 20 blockchains and 1,000 cryptocurrencies, use cases across trading, gaming, NFT, securities, and payments, and will allow more businesses, including all financial institutions, to participate in the digital asset economy. Right, so more ties to Galaxy Digital, Revolt, BlockFi, eToro, Swissborg. So all directly tied to Germany, which is tied to Bitbon, which is tied to Stellar, and all these tied to BitMEX Ventures, which was the one who initiated this whole acquisition with the German legacy bank. And then some other interesting connections that I found as well. Elliptic. Sorry if I'm going fast, guys. I've been trying to get this out, but I really don't have time to put a good video together. So I'm just going to run through this, and I'll attach this link to this chart. Elliptic and Medico, crypto security solutions that keep you safe. So Medico basically uses Elliptic for compliance. Now Elliptic partnered with Stellar Development Foundation, announces exclusive partnership with Elliptic. And then if you go back to Medico, Medico is the one that I mentioned earlier, ties to Medico ties to a Swiss custody bank. Now on this, not Swiss custody bank, sorry, let me see. Union Bank, sorry, yeah, which Medico is already established as a Swiss custody firm, right? Not necessarily Swiss custody, the domain on Lobster, just in general, they're a Swiss custody licensed, they're a licensed custodian, with that license being in compliance with the Swiss regulations. This is another thing I found interesting, which is Fine Metal Asia. Happens to be physical commodities with digital representations, which is what we have on Stellar. They're Shira compliant and they're tied to Kinesis, right? And then I found this interesting connection here. Right, so if you guys remember the BG123 little picture that came out, or little, I don't know what they call them, riddles, but I basically saw this. If you go to Fine Metal Asia, I found that their logo matches exactly what's right here, and it happens to be sitting right next to comics and liquidity. So I don't know if anybody else spotted that, but I found that connection as well, and that all ties to Stellar in the sense that it's all Shira compliant, right? With the Shira compliance pretty much onboarded Stellar blockchain as the initial network for regulations. And here's some more details on it happens to be tied to UBS, and it's tied to Argo Harrius, which is tied to a German how do you call it? I guess manufacturer, metal manufacturer. I don't know what they're actually called, but yeah, sorry I had to speed run through this. Just really I'm kind of limited on time right now, and I gotta wrap this up. But let me know what you guys think. Hopefully this helps. I know it was kind of quick, but what I'll do is I'll include a link to this chart so you guys can look, do some more research on yourself, and I'll try to include some more links as well.